New Zealand, and a very good evening to our fellow friends joining us from America. What an exciting day it is today to have the one and only Dr. Lee Seward join us as a veterinarian to talk about this amazing company and products. My name is Charlotte Venter. I live on the Sunshine Coast of Australia, originally from South Africa, moved over with my amazing husband now of almost 30 years, Andre, and our two beautiful children, Brandon, who's 27, and Robin, who's 24. We all live pretty close here on the coast. If you ever come to this part of the world, please let us know because we'd love to welcome you, and you can come and stay with us for a bit and come and explore this beautiful Sunshine Coast. Well, I am so extremely excited today to be introducing to you Dr. Lee Seward. And Dr. Lee is going to talk about our company called LifeVantage and the products that we have for humans as well as for animals, and specifically what these products do, why they're different to what you find out there in the world, and why it's really, really important for us to use them as well as look after our pets with using them. So let me share a little bit more about Dr. Seward. So Dr. Lee Seward is a doctor of veterinary medicine. He's a Pro 5 distributor with LifeVantage and a member of the LifeVantage Scientific Advisory Board. Now that's a big deal. To be sitting on our science board is quite phenomenal, and that shows me the caliber of person and the reputation and trust that the company has with him. He received his degrees after completing his army service, including flying helicopters in Vietnam. Isn't that amazing? After graduation, he joined a mixed animal private veterinary practice for a short time before establishing a career in animal health, product-related research and development. During his career, he was involved in the development of a number of animal health products. This is phenomenal. How many people can say that, right? So many of these products you may be familiar with, such as HeartGuard for dogs, Equivalent or Zimetterin for horses, Eprinex for cattle, Solo Step Diagnostic, and many, many others. He oversaw or was involved in the whole creative process from discovery to taking the product to the market. So he has a great appreciation for what it takes to create great products and what it means, right? He says this is what led him to LifeVantage. With a BS in zoology and his DVM, as well as research and development experience, he has an understanding of biology, anatomy, and physiology of many different species. And now, being with LifeVantage, he has developed an interest in what he calls comparative nutrigenomics, the way nutrition, food, and supplements influence genetic expression in a variety of animal species. He and his wife of, oh my goodness, 49 years, Rebecca, are people of faith. He was on the original LifeVantage Medical Advisory Board as well, and he's expressed how honored and humbled he is to be a member of the current Science Advisory Board and to be associated with such a group of outstanding medical professionals, in his own words, and then scientists that in all his experience he has never ever seen anything like the level of the qualifications and the experience that LifeVantage has with our science board. So Dr. Lee today is going to explain to us why it's important to look after the oxidative stress in our animals and exactly what that is. What does that mean? What does that cause? What even does it contribute to? And really, as a pet owner of dogs and cats and horses and whatever else you have as a pet, why it's really important to care for their oxidative stress. And at the end, please, as you have questions, pop them in the chat. And at the end, I'll come back and ask Dr. Lee for to answer those questions for us. So Dr. Lee, a huge big welcome and thank you again for giving us your time today. We are incredibly grateful.
Well, thank you so much, Charlotte, for hosting this and for having me. You don't know how much this means to me. It's a special pleasure for me to join you and to join the folks in Australia. I want to make sure that everybody understands how blessed they are to have you as such a great leader representing LifeVantage in Australia and showing people the benefits of the company, its products, and of course the opportunity that it provides. I've seen you on stage in person, and I've seen you in virtual presentations. And now interacting with you, you are truly an amazing person, a feeling person that you're so thankful for being around you to see how you treat other people. It's just amazing. So I hope your team and the people in Australia appreciate what a great leader they have. And the same with your daughter, Grace. I talked to her a little bit, interacted with her. Another great representation of all you guys stand for. So anyway, I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, and the story is going to illustrate to you what this technology that we're going to be talking about today, what it will do and what it can achieve. And I'm going to start off with telling you a little bit about my background in Australia. So my guess is that I was in Australia before most all of you, maybe even all of you. I was in Australia in 1969. And you may probably guess why I was in Australia, because that was during Vietnam, the Vietnam War. And I went on R&R, rest and relaxation trip for a little over a week in Australia, and was just blown away at what a delightful place it was and what great people there was. And I think, if memory serves me, what good beer they have. So that was my first exposure, and it always made me think about, wow, what a neat place. I'd like to spend more time there. Time moved on, got married, and even at that time, my wife and I even talked about going to Australia and either living there for a while or just finding out more about. But our lives moved on. I got into school, et cetera, and went to veterinary school, and things moved on. But I returned with my wife, Rebecca, in 1988. And we went on a trip on the East Coast. We started up north in Cairns and Port Douglas. We went on a dive trip out to Lizard Island. And then we took a train down the coast, stopping at various places and getting off and this, that, and the other thing, going out and diving on the reef, and wound up in Brisbane and for the World Expo in 1988. So I don't know if you can see that. That's the World Expo down under. And we spent some time, this is my wife and I, at one of the zoos there in Brisbane. So anyway, great time, had friends with us, just an amazing thing, something I'll remember forever. And we really enjoyed it. But then, amazingly, fast forward to my career in research, the Peter Principle was in effect, and I worked my way up in the organization at the research lab I was involved in, and was assigned to be in charge of the research activities worldwide. And it just so happens there was a farm outside of Sydney that I was responsible for, a research farm. And I got to travel over there a couple of times and travel around the country looking at animal production facilities and everything. One of the most delightful things I can remember seeing is the sheepdogs working, I think it was down northwest of Milburn on a big sheep station. The guy told me that there was more sheep within a 5-mile radius of where we were than there was in the entire United States. And I believe him. But watching the dogs run across the top of the sheep to get from one side of the pen to the other to take care of some troubled spot was just an amazing thing. So I have some really fond memories of Australia and being in Australia and of the people there. So thank you so much for having me join you. It just brought back so many great memories. Fast forward to about 20 years ago. Okay, 20 years ago, well, actually a little more than 20 years ago, we were living, I moved back to Colorado and was working at a startup company that had some amazing technology that we were working on. And we adopted a rescue dog, a dog that had been abused, a little puppy. And she became part of our family. Just an extremely loyal pet. I mean, I cannot think of anything that she did wrong. And she was with us for a number of years. Just she had been truly abused and was rescued by a neighbor who spirited her away from the people, and we got her. And even with that experience, she was just an absolute delight. I could go on, but I know we're probably limited in time about what a great dog and tell you some stories about her. Well, she was an Australian Shepherd, Border Collie, and I think something else. I always thought she had some setter in her. So I called her an Australian Border Setter. And she, we named her Sheila. So I don't know if that's politically incorrect, but this term Sheila was a female in Australia years ago. And so our dog was named after my early experiences in Australia. So Sheila, we had a great time with her, but then about 8 years ago, she was nearing the end of her life. And she was going through some just dreadful experience with aging, the problems we see in aging, not just in dogs, but in humans and other animals. She got to the point where she couldn't get around. I'd have to carry her out to take care of her business. She was losing her hair, had a horrible skin infection, just suffering greatly. And it was one of those times where all of you that have pets are at a point in your life where you have to make these difficult, very hard decisions. Here we have this loyal family member and she's suffering so badly. And what's worse about it for me was, as a veterinarian, there wasn't anything I could do. We were treating her for the diseases that were associated with aging, but we weren't making any progress to speak of. And we just kept working with her, et cetera, but we weren't getting anywhere. We had to leave for a few days. And fortunately, I had another veterinarian colleague that would look after Sheila, that loved her as much as we did while we were gone. And we had a family wedding, and we had to go to the family wedding in Texas, and we went on an airplane. And it was hard to get away because, like I said, I was just torn because as a veterinarian, I couldn't help her. On that airplane, a woman sat next to us and showed us a video. And this video told us about some technology that had come out of the University of Colorado in Denver, the Denver Medical Center. And the technology was about reducing oxidative stress in humans and in animals. I was very intrigued. And not only that, this company that had come up with this technology was launching a product specifically for dogs. They had already put human products on the market, and they were launching a product specifically for dogs. And because of that, I was very, very interested. And I did my due diligence, looked into it, found the science was solid. I learned more about oxidative stress. I already knew some things about it. And we decided to become distributors, and we immediately got Sheila on this technology. And I can tell you it was miraculous. Within weeks, she became mobile again, started gaining her mobility back. Her hair coat started improving, just dramatic improvements. And just a remarkable thing, about 2 months after, maybe a little bit longer than that, Becky was gone and I was looking after things, and I was headed out to feed the horses late one evening after dark, and Sheila was going with me, and she was going around checking out all the rabbit holes and stuff in her normal rounds as we went out to the barn. And in the barnyard lights, I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye, and all of a sudden there's a fox that ran across the yard, and Sheila was in hot pursuit. And just amazing. I'm talking about a dog that 3 months earlier couldn't walk and now has a full hair coat and is chasing this fox. We got another probably year and a half of quality life with this loyal member of our family. Now, how much is that really worth? I mean, how much joy did that bring us, and how much joy did that bring her? So it's just priceless what this was all about. And I just was it's just such a, it just makes my heart warm just to even think about it, that I was finally able to help her. So what is oxidative stress? Oxidative stress simply is the rusting of our cells, the rusting of inside of our body. And that's a simple explanation. It's an oxidative process that damages a lot of the activity and the mechanisms inside of our cell. This is something that our cellular structures are set up to deal with. And it has a system that produces enzymes and active molecules that reduce this oxidative stress. But as we age, that process declines and it gets less and less effective. And once the oxidation inside of our cells gets to the point where it's not able, the cell isn't able to keep it under control, then we start seeing what's called oxidative stress. And what this is it's damage to functions and the genetics of our cells. And this leads to a number of things. Oxidative stress is one of the major components in the aging process, not only in humans, but in animals. And this is well documented. If you look at some of the databases, there's one here that is used worldwide, but it's put together by the United States National Institute of Health in their library that's available online. And if you go there and look, search oxidative stress, you'll see something like 250,000 research papers on that subject. It's one of the hottest topics in medical science over the last 10 years, 15, 20 years. Well, out of those 250,000 papers, in reality, the vast majority of that research has been done in animals. So it's just as applicable to animals as it is to humans. That oxidative stress is the same functionally in animals as it is in humans. And in fact, not only is oxidative stress a major factor in the aging process, it's also a major factor in virtually all the significant diseases that you can think about. Again, not only in animals, not only in humans, but in animals too. Further, this oxidative stress is not just a process of normal aging, but it is exacerbated by a number of things, not just our normal functioning, but also by exposure to radiation, either electromagnetic through our devices or solar radiation from outside. It's all the toxicants that we're exposed to, etc. And if we think about animals, particularly dogs, cats, horses, they are outside and they are exposed to solar radiation and electromagnetic radiation from such things as high wires, high voltage wires, etc. But they're also, if you think about all the chemicals that they're exposed to, all the pesticides, herbicides, the industrial pollution, etc., that all comes and settles down on the ground, or that we use on the ground. And that's where they are. They're there on the ground, sticking their nose into things, eating their food, as in the case of horses particularly. All of this is things that add to our oxidative stress. So it comes as no surprise that oxidative stress is pretty much the same throughout the animal kingdom, including humans. And there is a study that was done, and one of the things that really drove me to investigate this further and wound up becoming a distributor, independent distributor with the company, was that there was a paper done, an actual clinical research paper, a double-blinded study that showed that this technology that we have, this herbal technology called Protandim Nerve2, actually reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days when administered daily. This is a natural product, an herbal product. It is not a drug. And that this particular combination of 5 ingredients is patented, because by putting these small amounts of these herbal substances together, what the person that developed this found was that he increased the activity against oxidative stress by 1,800 times. So we've got a tremendous technology to reduce oxidative stress, a major component of the aging process and the diseases that we commonly associate with the aging process. And if you look at me, you can tell I'm interested in anything to delay the aging process. So this technology, this NRF2 technology, it comes as a pill, and it was developed for humans. And it has not really been tested for use in animals, either our pet animals, dogs, horses particularly, and even cats. But we know that there is a product that is available in some countries that has these same ingredients that has been used in dogs. And we know also that the product, even though not tested, has been widely used. The Nerve2, Protandim NRF2, has been widely used in dogs and horses worldwide and in the United States, with the results that you would expect by reducing oxidative stress. That is that you can significantly reduce the cellular stress. You can produce enzymes capable of neutralizing these substances that are created in the cell that cause the damage. These what they're called free radicals do it better than any other antioxidant substance you can think of. If you think of vitamin C or any of the other antioxidants, this particular product works 1,000,000 times better. And that is, each molecule of our product reduces the enzymes that they release, reduces 1,000,000 free radicals per second every second. Whereas if you take vitamin C, each molecule of vitamin C is only good to reduce 1 free radical. So it's an amazing power that we now have in this particular product. The other thing that this technology does, this Protandim NRF2, through NRF2 activation, it causes the expression of these genes that produce the enzymes that reduce the free radicals that I mentioned, but also activates a series of genes called the survival genes. One of the things that the survival genes, there's a number of things that they do, but one of the things that they do is they cause some functionality in the cell that actually rids the cell of toxic substances. And this particular activity goes back to my comments earlier about all the things that add to oxidative stress that we're exposed to in our environment and that pets are exposed to. So the bottom line is, we know that this NRF2 activation reduces oxidative stress and as a side, does other things such as affects reducing inflammation and helps the cells rid themselves of toxic substances. And I can't really say that that we can treat any, mitigate, prevent, diagnose any disease or condition. And also, obviously, Protandim NRF2 has not been specifically tested for use in dogs, but has been widely used in hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of doses in dogs and horses with a broad experience, with no real, I mean, it's basically food with no real adverse effects. There's some, the company hasn't tested it. And so we can't really say, like in certain conditions, because of the mechanism of action, that you should use it, for example, and if your dog or animals getting chemotherapy or radiation therapy for cancer, for example, it may not be something you want to do simultaneously. Me personally, my dog, I might take them off for a day or two while they were getting these kinds of treatments, but I would not take them off for any extended period of time, because I'm so convinced at the benefits of the technology. So that's kind of a quick
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
quick run through, Charlotte. I don't know if there's some other things you'd like me to address, but I'm happy to do so.
Oh, Dr. Lee, I'm always going to have more questions for you, because honestly, I could listen to you for hours. So as a pet owner, do I just automatically assume that my pet needs it, the dog or the cat or the horse or whatever needs it, or is it only for special cases?
Excellent question. It is something that you should use every day for the rest of your life and the rest of the animal's life. Oxidative stress is something now that we can control. And the benefits of oxidative stress. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to live longer, frankly, although I'll tell you, there is a study that has been done in mice that did show significant improvement in longevity and quality of life. And that, of course, that study was designed for relative to human indications, but in fact, it's just as relevant to animals because it was done in mice. It's mice just as good a model for a dog as it is for a human. And as I say, the studies that were done in humans were actually model studies for dogs. So, the information out of humans is just as relevant to dogs as the information in dogs is relevant to humans. But anyway, so yes, take it every day for the rest of the animal's life. And my idea about this is that, at the same time when we were experiencing the thing with Sheila, and we always say either God or Southwest Airlines is responsible for us finding out about this product, that I was thinking about my parents and what they went through in their aging years. Both of them had passed. My father had pancreatic cancer. My mother suffered through 10 years of dementia. And we know oxidative stress are involved in these conditions. So obviously you can't cure those conditions or can't claim to cure them in any way, but anything that I can do to improve the quality of my life for as long as I live, I'm sure as heck going to do it.
Exactly. So Dr. Lee, from what age would you start giving it to puppies, for instance?
Yeah. Again, that question often comes up. We have there's no real thing that would say what age. We've never seen any problem with younger animals having a problem with it. But I would say certainly by the time they're 9 months to a year old, they should be on it. Yeah, I think that's realistic. And
doses would you recommend? What dosage?
I'm sorry?
What dosage would you recommend?
So that's a great question. What I tell people when they're using Protandim Nerve 2, the tablet, is that for dogs under 10 pounds that use about an eighth of a tablet, Once they're past 10 pounds, up to about 30 pounds, use a quarter of a tablet. And then up to 60 pounds, a half a tablet. And then 3/4 of a tablet would take them up to about 100 pounds or so. And then anything over that, use a full tablet of Protandim NRF2. Makes it very financially, acceptable. That's very, very cost effective. Can't think of any other product that has that effect and that value.
And that's once a day. Is it best morning or
That is once a day.
Does it
Once a
matter
day.
when?
It doesn't matter. Usually, people say that it's probably better with food, with feed. Obviously, it's a hard tablet, so if you have trouble with it, I always say my favorite. I hate to tell you my secrets here, but I always say that if you use cream cheese, that's my secret for getting animals to take Protandim.
Oh,
Now, you guys might want to use Vegemite. I don't know.
I have a friend in the States who has a big dog, and his dog absolutely loves the tablet. He says he just picks the bottle up and the dog can hear it no matter where he is, and he comes running. So I don't think it's going to be too hard to give to them. Can you share with us, at the moment we don't have Protandim, which you mentioned is exactly Protandim with a few things added to it.
Right.
You share that we don't have that in Australia right now, but what is the real difference between Protandim and Protandim?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, I have it on my list to cover. So, well, the addition, the things that are added to Protandim, first off, it has the exact same ingredients as Protandim NRF2 in a formulation specifically for dogs, but it has added to it a small amount of a high quality source of omega-3 fatty acids. Sound familiar to some of you folks? Because LifeVantage has a excellent product that focuses on omega-3 fatty acid. So the other thing it has added to it is type 2 collagen as a source of hyaluronic acid, chondroitin, glucosamine, and type 2 collagen. So that's the other thing that's in it. So if I was in Australia, and of course I'd be administering my dog and my horse Protandim NRF2, I would probably add the omega-3 fatty acid that we have, the omega-3 plus that LifeVantage has, because it's probably one of the cleanest products for omega-3 fatty acids in existence. Great product. And you can you can dose that like we don't have a dose specifically, but you could use just one capsule for, say, dogs up to 50 pounds or so, and then 2 for up to 100. So again, very, very economically feasible.
Yeah.
Just touch on horses a minute. Horses, dosing, again, there's no set dose for horses because there's no research. I can tell you, I know here in the States, thousands and thousands and thousands of horses are on it, and there's some tremendous stories. A lot of really testimonials on YouTube, etc. But the bottom line is that the dose in horses is a little bit more variable. You would think, oh my gosh, the horse weighs 1,200 pounds, I'm going to have to give it, half a dozen tablets. And that's not the case because there's a number of factors working in your favor. But right now, we only have 2 horses left from a high of many years ago of 17. But our 2 horses now, one horse is on 1 and the other horse is on 3 a day. And I think that there's a benefit to giving 1. I think a lot of people are seeing it. So I think a starting place, if you're not trying to accomplish anything but reducing oxidative stress, and for the health and well-being of that horse, 1 or 2 a day is fine. If you're aiming at something specific and want to see a response, then you might have to go higher. But just first, and I've seen some really benefits. Attitude in my mare is better. Her skin is healthier. She has a lot of itchy problems in the spring and summer, and her skin's better. So good stuff.
Oh, we have somebody asking a question that have you ever seen if a horse has had maybe a leg injury, giving it Protandim would speed up that recovery?
Great question again. One of the benefits of reducing oxidative stress has been demonstrated, has been improved recovery. And that's just from exercise, but it's also from stresses, other stresses, etc. You
Awesome.
bet.
Well, Dr. Lee, I have a 17-year-old kitty cat, and about a year ago, I started noticing that he was struggling to jump onto the beds, jump onto little walls. So, we took him to the vet and they did all the normal things that they do. And they said, oh, look, he's getting a bit of arthritis in his back legs, the poor little thing. So I thought, that's it, Protandim, here you come. So now what I do, I give him a quarter of a tablet every day, just shove it down his throat. He sees me coming, he just stands and waits. He knows what's going to happen. And it is amazing the difference. He now jumps onto the bed, he jumps on the walls. The other day I was sitting in the lounge with my husband and I said, oh my gosh, honey, did you see that? He just ran up the stairs. Like normally he'd like walk one step at a time and he just bolted up the stairs. So, there's definitely been some improvement with him as well. Dr. Lee, my final question for you is when we speak to veterinarians about these products, we often find they just close. They won't even look at it. Is there anything specific we can say or show them that's going to open them up to taking a look?
It's that is a common issue. Let me say first, your story about your cat. I've had the same experience exactly. Older cat, she was having mobility problems and was able to get some of this technology into her. Our cat now is on it, playful, etc. So yeah, it's great. As far as veterinarians or any medical professional, first off, it is a relationship business. So that's one part. Two is you can't bother them. I mean, you can't make an appointment with a veterinarian to try to show this to them. You're gonna, it's gonna irritate them. But so you have to figure out a way to establish a relationship and treat it like you would any other person, realizing that the science is going to be they may not really read the paper, they may not really focus on it, but that's going to be the way in. That there are a number of papers out there, and if you aren't already aware of some of them, I can send a link to Charlotte and you guys can use them. But there's a number of papers out there that you can show a veterinarian that might get their attention. Another thing that I think we've found is that you may want to talk to other staff members there first. That may be a better way, because the professionals, particularly in this profession, in veterinary medicine, can be really swamped, and so they're very protective of their time. So my suggestion there would be to see if there's somebody on the staff, particularly if there's somebody responsible for buying products and things like that, that you can talk to and start establishing a relationship that way. So
that's great.
I think those are the keys.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Dr. Lee, we are extremely grateful to have had you. I'm so conscious of your time, so I really could ask you another 100 questions and just keep chatting. But thank you so much for being on here. We will make this recording available for anyone who wants to hear from Dr. Lee Seward. And what a phenomenal morning this has been. And just, hearing from you, your experience, not just your experience, but what you've studied, your research that you've done, being part of developing new products, tells us how much you know about what you're talking about. So you're really talking with trust and integrity. I know you and your wife are amazing people, and we really trust that we can come to you and hear the truth from you. This has got nothing to do with you making money. This is about you really impacting animals, and that's what we love. So thank you so much. Well done for all the amazing work you do, and thank you so much for helping being on the science board for LiveVantage. We truly appreciate you. And can you please get Pet Tandem into Australia for us? And you
Yeah, I would love that. I would love it.
I,
It is my favorite product by far. But thank you so much for having me. Again, like I said, it touched a soft spot in me to know that I was going to be joining you folks in Australia. It means so much to see you and to be able to interact with you. It's just great.
Thank you so much. If you are willing to, we would love to have you again.
Yeah. And I'm going to take you up on visiting. I'll be done. What are you guys doing next week?
Come on, come along. Seriously, anytime. But I know the borders are shut now, but anytime, feel free to come over. We would love to have you. Love to have you. So have a really, really great night over there. Give our love to your wife and your family and all of our LiveVantage family over there. We really miss you guys. We can't wait to hug you and be with you again. And team, thank you so much to everyone in Australia and New Zealand that's joined here today. I hope this has been valuable for you. We have a mission, and that is to make people and our animal friends feel and function the best they possibly could, so that they live the lives they truly deserve. So guys, think about, who do you know that has a dog, has a cat, has a horse? How can we go and affect their lives in a positive way right now? Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. See you. Thank you, Dr. Lee. See you guys.
Great. Thank you.